Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Alexei and today we're gonna be talking about compression. So I created my ultimate guide to compression where it will be explained for you all about compression. You can download my ultimate guide to compression for free. The link will be in the info box of this video. So first of all, we should understand what is compression.
Dynamic range compression, DRC, or simply compression is an audio signal processing operation that reduces the volume of loud sounds or amplifies quiet sounds, thus reducing or compressing an audio signal's dynamic range. Compression is commonly used in sound recording and reproduction, broadcasting, live sound reinforcement and in some instrument amplifiers. A dedicated electronic hardware unit or audio software that applies compression is called a compressor. In the 2000s, compressors became available as software plugins that run in digital audio workstation software. In recorded and live music, compression parameters may be adjusted to change the way they affect sounds. Compression and limiting are identical in process but different in degree and perceived effect. A limiter is a compressor with a high ratio and, generally, a short attack time.
What is threshold?
The threshold of a compressor is the volume level, or amplitude level, that a signal must cross in order for the compressor to turn on. The threshold control is the most important control on the compressor because it controls whether the compressor is actually doing anything or not. If your threshold is set too high, the compressor will never actually kick in and no gain reduction will happen. If your threshold is set too low, you'll be slamming your compressor, resulting in a ton of gain reduction and getting unnatural pumping sounds and a signal that sounds squashed.
Now I'd like to know what is ratio.
The amount of gain reduction is determined by ratio. A ratio of 4:1 means that if input level is 4 dB over the threshold, the output signal level is reduced to 1 dB over the threshold. The gain and output level has been reduced by 3 dB. Another way of stating this is that any input signal level over the threshold will, in this case, be output at a level which is only 25%, i.e. 1/4, as much over the threshold as its input level was. The highest ratio of infinity, 1, is often known as limiting, and effectively denotes that any signal above the threshold is brought down to the threshold level once the attack time has expired.
And finally, let's talk about attack and release.
A compressor may provide a degree of control over how quickly it acts. The attack is the period when the compressor is decreasing gain in response to increased level at the input to reach the gain determined by the ratio. The release is the period when the compressor is increasing gain in response to reduced level at the input to reach the output gain determined by the ratio, or, to unity, once the input level has fallen below the threshold. Because the loudness pattern of the source material is modified by the time-varying operation of compressor, it may change the character of the signal in subtle to quite noticeable ways depending on the attack and release settings used. The length of each period is determined by the rate of change and the required change in gain. For more intuitive operation, a compressor's attack and release controls are labeled as a unit of time, often milliseconds. This is the amount of time it takes for the gain to change a set amount of dB or a set percentage towards the target gain. There is no industry standard for the exact meaning of these time parameters. In many compressors, the attack and release times are adjustable by the user. Some compressors, however, have the attack and release times determined by the circuit design and cannot be adjusted. Sometimes the attack and release times are automatic or program dependent, meaning that the behavior may change depending on the input signal.
Now let's talk about compressor types. So my first question is, what is a Fat Compressor?
FET uses field effect transistors. FET compressors emulate the tube/valve sound using transistor circuits. They are fast and bright sounding and are popular with rock genres for exactly these reasons. FET compressors add both punch and color to a sound and can be extremely useful on percussive sounds or sounds that need a snappy transience. The most famous FET compressor is the URI 1176.
Now I'd like to know what is a Opto compressor.
Opto, optical, uses a photocell as a detector and a light bulb to determine the gain reduction. Different light sensor types and illumination sources affect the gain reduction in different ways. The time lag between the photocell and detector makes for a slow attack and release, and this makes this type of compressor perfect for processing vocals, performing gentle automatic gain changes and mastering. The most famous Opto compressors are the LA2A and Avalon AD2044.
Now let's talk about DCA compressor.
DCA uses a voltage-controlled amplifier. DCAs are fast and have low distortion, which makes them come across as clean. However, DCAs can sound aggressive if pushed. Because DCAs don't add color to a sound, they can be used for transparent compression as they sound clean and smooth. Most common DCAs used are the SSLG bus and the DBX 160.
And finally, let's talk about Varimo compressor.
Varimo uses a valve tube as the variable gain reduction. They are slow to react, which makes them perfect for gluing purposes, and the ratio increases with gain reduction, which gives this topology such a distinct sound. This type of compressor works best on the master/group bus as it glues sounds together into a single homogeneous sound. It can be used to add warmth and thickness to a sound. The most famous Varimo compressor is the Fairchild 670.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video will be useful for you. Again, you can download my free ultimate guide to compression. The link will be in the info box of this video. And see you next time.